This is one of the worst cases I've seen in some time. Absolutely deplorable. Unvented propane heater in it, and there was soot over every square inch of the interior of that house.
I realize that everyone's standards of living are different, so not everyone will agree on how best to clean or maintain their homes. What everyone can agree on, though, is that having campfires inside a tinderbox trailer is almost as bad an idea as French kissing a light socket. To be fair, they probably weren't having actual campfires in their trailer, but they used an unvented propane heater that caused an extreme amount of soot buildup, even in the fridge. I'm not sure what these folks were thinking, but one of the first things you learn about a campfire is not to sit downwind in the smoke plume if you want to keep breathing. Perhaps the only reason these homeowners are still breathing is that their trailer was in such dilapidated condition. If it were newer and better made, it would have been better insulated, and they would have all succumbed to carbon monoxide. Let's roll, nerds.
This is a matter involving Flowerfield Township versus Dorothy Jean Randolph Kuiper. This is a property on Weatherby Road, which includes what looked like a prefab house and a camper trailer. This is one of the worst cases I've seen in some time. This property was condemned by Officer Coleman in March as being inhabitable, and council submitted a proposed compliance order, and we received a handwritten letter objecting to that. So we set the matter for a hearing. Let's identify who's here. What's your name, ma'am?
Connie Spiggets.
And you are Dorothy Randolph Kuiper?
I'm her daughter.
All right.
Oh,
Yes, I am.
Also present is Douglas Kuhlman, Zoning Enforcement Administrative Officer for Flowerfield Township. Mr. Kuhlman, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask both of you ladies to all please raise your right hand. Officer Kuhlman obtained an administrative search warrant and went to this property after receiving some complaints that perhaps there had been a fire there, and it was in absolutely deplorable condition. He placarded the property as inhabitable and condemned it. We received a letter from Connie Spiggets dated May 12th. I'll read it if I can. I was one of the people living in the trailer. So you were in the trailer behind the house?
no, I was in the trailer with her.
All right, so you call that prefab house a trailer? The primary residence?
Mhm.
All right, all right.
It's a trailer. It's two trailers put together.
Oh, all right. I am Dorothy Randolph Kuiper's daughter. How do you expect us to clean and do all you want done when we can't be in the trailers? We have L&L Junkyard come on Thursday morning to take 3 cars out. Camper is not plugged in anymore. And it also has permanent plates on it. So Doug, so does the other trailer.
We have another
Just a
trailer.
minute, let me finish this one. The sheds are storage. No one stays in them. Storage sheds, no one stays in them. The well is 7 years old. Said that my mom is 84 years old. She will be put through this. So Mr. Coleman got an administrative search warrant, went out there in March. This property was not habitable. So under it didn't burn down, had an unvented propane heater in it, and there was soot over every square inch of the interior of that house, including in the refrigerator. The trailer behind the camper, if possible, was in even worse shape than the house. There was no running water. The roof leaks. The sheds are collapsed. There's piles of trash and garbage in the yard, and there were 3 unregistered cars. So,
The cars are gone.
all right. So, Mr. Coleman, what's the current status of the property?
Your Honor, we have not heard back. We got the same correspondence that you did. I think it's important to understand that, 99% of the time we placard a home is unsafe, which means you can make necessary repairs to a dwelling to make it habitable again. It is our Flowerfield Township building officials' opinion that this trailer or home is beyond repair. There's no running water. They've got 4x4 posts in the kitchen area holding the ceiling up because the roof is actually in the state of collapse. There was active cockroaches in the home when we were there. And then most alarming was that improper burning propane fueled heater. The only thing that really needs to happen is this home needs to be replaced. And I certainly understand that that's a financial burden for this family. And I would certainly hope that there would be some resource out there to assist them.
All right. Ms. Spickets, what's your position?
What was that?
What do you want me to know?
Well, they want us to clean the walls and everything. How can one when we're not supposed to be there?
All right, well, there is that. I don't believe this property can be salvaged. This trailer needs to be removed from that property. It would take tens of thousands of dollars, maybe more, to make this property habitable. The trailer's collapsing, the floor's collapsing, there's no water. There's soot over every square inch of the place. There's no heat source. I would not spend any time trying to repair it. I would spend time getting whatever you wish to salvage out of there. Ms. Kuiper, where are you living now?
We're with my sister, Bangor, Linda, Nash, Earl.
So you're living in Bangor, Michigan, and you're living there too?
She took us in because we was out on the street, had no place to go.
Well, that's better than where you were. That didn't happen overnight. That was years of neglect or decay. It was referred as there'd been a fire there. And people saw open burning inside the premises. And so they called the fire department, and then they called the zoning people, and they couldn't determine that there ever was a fire. Was there a fire in there sometime in the past?
Ever, never. We are trying to get into an apartment at Mellow.
It's a trailer in Meadow Lane.
Yeah. We're next to the
Trailer
line.
In Three Rivers?
Then we'll be moving. Gone forever, everywhere. My husband's also a veteran. He died and left me, and he's a World War.
When did he die?
He died in August of 2023. This August will be 2 years he's been gone.
He was such a wonderful man. He was in Italy during the war. He went through that. Died 3 days before his 100th birthday.
Wow.
I have his flag delivered by the military, and I have his ashes. I'm hanging on to them. And so there is.
Now, do you own this parcel of property?
Oh,
Do you own the property everything sits on?
yeah.
All right, how big is it, Douglas? Do you know?
It's 1 acre,
All right,
1 square acre. Lots of lumber. Everybody's after lumber.
there's trees on it? Trees on the property?
Yeah.
Are the taxes current?
Yes, every bills are all paid up to date. Taxes.
I don't see any reason why the compliance order should not end. Ms. Geschwind, I haven't given you a chance to say anything, but let's go through the compliance order that you prepared and submitted. The township is asking for an order that says, no person shall live in, sleep in, dwell in, cook, or bathe in any travel trailer, camper, motorhome, motor vehicle, shed, garage, or any other temporary makeshift shelter on the subject property. No person or domestic animal is permitted to live in, stay in, sleep in, cook, or bathe in the house on the subject property until it has been certified as safe for human habitation. The defendant shall remove all junk, tarps, trash, mattresses, construction materials, cast off, garbage, and debris from outdoor storage in the yard of the subject property. The defendant shall remove all unlicensed and inoperable vehicles and parts thereof, including all 3 motor vehicles parked on the grass and all motorhomes, campers, trailers, and tires from outdoor storage on the subject property. Ms. Geschwind, the exception would be the keyword unlicensed. So if these things are licensed and plated, they would have the ability to keep the stuff there, including a camper. If it was licensed, the defendant shall remove all piled content and clutter from inside the shed on the subject property and shall replace the roof. I guess you'd also have the option of just tearing it down. No one may live in the shed. The defendant shall hire a professional exterminator to clear the house of flea, cockroach, and rodent infestation. The defendant shall remove the propane field heater from inside the house on the subject property. The heater is improperly vented and was never inspected and cannot be used to heat the interior of the house at all. The defendant shall seal off the gas line to the propane heater and remove it at the connecting point. The defendant shall remove all interior clutter from the house, including trash, pile items, and ensure that there's a clear aisleway to every interior room. They shall return water service to the house and obtain a well permit and get a new well installed within 80 days. Now, Ms. Geschwind, these are all unrealistic because this house is not redeemable. This is what they're asking for. You shall replace the rotting flooring on the north side entry of the house, replace all burned and charred interior walls, damaged and charred windows, burned, charred, and soot-covered ceiling in the rear bedroom. That was just amazing how bad that was. Remove charred light fixtures to replace center support, remove toilet, shower, electrical fixtures, and renovate the bathroom. Remove the supporting 4x4s from the kitchen, replace the exterior roof and remove deteriorating deck from the south side of the house, remove tarp and replace the entire roof on the north side of the structure. The defendant shall diligently work to complete the repair. Permits are pulled, but there's not effort to undertake the required construction. The effort to retain the house shall be deemed abandoned, and the defendant shall raise the house and all other structures on the property by no later than 30 days after the date of pulling the permits. The defendant shall remove all debris from raising, decommission the septic, cap the well, and return the parcel to normal grade. That's what needs to happen here. So if you don't get any permits, you have to tear this house down. Ms. Geschwind and Mr. Kuhlman, obviously, I don't think these parties have the wherewithal financially to do all of these things. I think what's going to happen is after 30 days, this property will be deemed to be abandoned. The township will then come in and remove it, remove the sheds, remove anything that's still there, and charge the cost to you and place a lien on the property. Now, this is way out in the country. You got to really want to get to Weatherby Road. It's almost in Cass County. In fact, I wish it was in Cass County. I knew some people that lived out there and went to a graduation party once there several years ago, and hell, I couldn't even find the place. But you don't have the ability to fix this. So it will be in your interest really to have this just returned to a 1 acre parcel of property, which somebody might be willing to buy. Because right now, anybody that buys this is just going to buy all of this giant headache. Once it's cleared up, they will spread the cost on the property. So there'll be a lien on it. And once it's sold, the proceeds of the sale will go to pay for the cleanup and the lien of the property. One issue is the house was full of cockroaches. And hopefully you didn't take those with you to your next place.
We've had offers on the trailer, we've had offers on the land.
All right, very good. Cars are gone, the cats are gone?
No, the cats are still there. My son don't have nowhere to take them right now. He's staying with the neighbors but they've got dogs and they said he can't bring the cat.
All right, well, what's his name? He was the guy that was mostly living in the camper. What's his name?
Joseph Spiggins,
So he owns the cats?
yes,
Are the cats still in the trailer or are they in the house?
they're in the trailer.
Eee, I just can't. That trailer was one giant litter box and had 2 electric heaters in it. It's amazing the whole thing didn't burn down. Ms. Geschwint, my inclination is to grant your order, compliance order as requested. You guys need to stay in contact with Mr. Coolman. If you've got somebody that's willing to buy the property and remove this stuff, it's a nice flat piece of property. It's on a public roadway. It's got standing timber on it. It'd be valuable to somebody, but the way it is right now, it's not valuable to anybody.
My son wanted it, and he's in Alabama, but he just didn't have any way to take it out and get it down there on,
The camper.
yeah, the camper.
Yes, well, you're gonna have to get that camper's gotta smell like cats for in perpetuity.
Your Honor, I have not been out there in the last week, but I will tell you the township called me last week and said they got a complaint that Mrs. Kuiper is still staying in that trailer.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Is Joseph still there?
No, he lives on the corner at the neighbors.
All right, well, if anyone's in there, they're gonna be in violation of this order.
That being said, Your Honor, may I request that we cut the power at the curb?
Well, they might need power to, I don't know what. All right, here's what the house looked like in March. Is that correct, Mr. Coleman?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
There's the front entryway. Here is the heater that amazingly didn't burn the house down. It just burns open into the room with no vent. And that's not a very good hookup, also likely to leak propane or gas into the house. Is that a cement floor?
No, it's those blocks that you buy like at Menards.
No, but down here, under where the pipe comes out.
No,
That's a
That's
wooden floor,
Oh
Your
my
Honor.
gosh. There's the soot walls. Is that Joseph sitting on the couch?
yeah,
That's a bedroom. Did anybody sleep in this room?
not at that time, no.
One time, no.
She slept in it for a long time.
Officer Coleman put his finger on the globe of that lamp, and that's the soot that was on there. And that one, I about fell out of my chair. That's the rear bedroom. It also looks like there's plants growing through the roof.
Your Honor, can you go back to that picture for just a minute?
Yes.
So that's one of the concerns. It possibly has some termite infestation as well, because those are the 2 walls right down the center of this home. And as you can see, they're deteriorated and falling apart as well.
No one can take a shower in here.
We paid $7,500 for our well.
7,500?
Yes.
Why is there no water now?
Cause there's a pipe underneath that's broke and I don't know how to fix that stuff.
Yeah, that's the walls that are deteriorating. And there's the 2x4s holding the kitchen ceiling up from collapsing. And again, everything in here is covered in soot. There's even soot in the refrigerator. There's one of the coach roaches. Even the dish scrubber is covered in soot. And there's the interior of the house again. Exterior of the house. Does the roof leak?
It did in the little bedroom.
All right, and then I guess you can kind of see it was 2 trailers put together and then sited. And there's a water spigot, but apparently the water line is broken. And that's the shed that is collapsed and ready to fall over. These are the 3 vehicles which apparently have been removed. A Volkswagen, a Cadillac, and maybe a Chevy Malibu. And that's the back side of the trailer. And if that wasn't bad enough, then we have this trailer in the back with just garbage thrown out the door.
There's a big tree that's fell on top of it, so on top of it, so you couldn't.
Oh, so there's a tree that fell on it since
Right
this?
now, yeah. My nephew lives next door to me, Randy Harrison, and his landlord's mine.
Is he interested in buying this? Ew. This is the inside of the trailer where the cats live, and Joseph, I suspect, was living out there. There's heaters and a fan. Is that pretty much the way it is right now, the way it was in March? All right. The township has asked me to just shut the power off at the pole, and that way no one can live in there. Officer Coleman, how recent was the information that perhaps someone was living there?
I just got the call last week, Your Honor.
Well, they can go there during the daytime to get their property. Nobody can sleep in there.
Yeah, that's what happened. They're bothering us all the time. You know, we can sit outdoors in the daytime on the deck.
The deck is about collapsed. So do you go there like sometimes during the week to visit the place?
We go and sit out on the deck.
Why?
I grew up there. That's my home. I was 5, and it hurts me that it's, I can't be there anymore.
Well, you can't. Nobody can live in that house. This is 2025, St. Joseph County, Michigan. Nobody should have to live like that, and I'm not gonna allow it. But you go sit there on a deck among all the squalor and the 90-degree heat, but I'm sure there are things in there that you wish to salvage.
Yeah.
Your memories, everything, every single thing in there is covered in soot. It's a wonder you guys are alive after breathing that.
And we have another problem.
What?
We have Jerry, who I was married to. His flag is there. It was brought in by military, and so is his ashes. They cannot be removed.
Why not?
Not even if I want to, because it was put there by high military.
No, they can be removed. You don't want those in there when this property is torn down.
You can't burn them. We can't burn
Well, I
them.
don't want you to burn
It'd
them. I
be
want
treason.
you need to get his property out of there. You need to get your property out of there. Ms. Geschwint, your idea does have some logic to it, but I'm not gonna grant it at this point. Just gonna sign the order as signed. You might need lights in there to remove stuff. You might need to run a fan, although it just blow all that soot around. So a tree fell on the camper, so that's,
It's not falling on it now, but the branches are on it.
She's got a picture of it. Do you want to see it?
My
no,
phone's-
what I saw is probably sufficient. I think what's going to happen is you're not gonna make any improvements on this property. I would not suggest that you hire a exterminator or make any improvement on this property, because it's not fixable. You would put $200,000 into a $500 dwelling. So if you don't do anything after the signing of this order, after 30 days, the township will come in and clean this piece of property up. Now, if you have somebody that's interested in buying it within the next 30 days, and they purchase the property, they can contact Mr. Coleman about how they wish to proceed. But no one is ever going to be able to live in that house again. All right, ladies, I wish I had a better answer. As you said, this was your house. Once upon a time, it was probably nice, but over the last 25 years, it's deteriorated to the point where it's almost collapsed. And I don't know how you guys survive with that propane heater going in there all winter long. Basically, you need to get what you want to get out of there within the next 30 days.
We have 3 giant cabinets. 1, 2,
Not one.
4. Grandfather clock.
Yeah, I saw some nice, everything's covered with soot.
We're
But you're gonna
trying
need to-
get out of there. We want to move into this camper
This trailer.
and this trailer over there, we're trying to get into.
But you don't have room to fit all that stuff into that trailer.
Well, we gotta do something with it.
Yeah, you might need to get a storage unit or something. All right, that completes this record. I'm gonna go sign the order. I'll give you ladies a copy of it. I'm sorry we've come to this.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy watching this content, please like and subscribe. It helps new channels like this one gain exposure. There is a lot more good court to come, so if you like what you saw, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell me, and let me know what you'd like to see and how I can improve. Thanks.